talk about our amygdala and its role with our emotional experiences, our baselines. It's our trauma center. This is where trauma gets stuck and can completely derail our entire lives. So the amygdala itself is a key brain center that is involved in the emotional experiences that we have in this life. A very interesting aspect of the amygdala is that it actually synchronizes our heart rhythms. So when we have experienced significant trauma, latent trauma that we didn't actually really know impacted us so deeply, because a lot of us are really good at burying our issues, or we think we are. We don't actually. It always comes out in cracks. That trauma stuck in the amygdala can disrupt the brain's ability to communicate with the heart to effectively synchronize our heart rhythms. And so our heart rhythms become erratic versus working in a natural state of consciousness. So a really cool thing about our amygdala is that it becomes familiar with rhythms and patterns of life that it experiences. It is a pattern recognition machine as well. So, for example, if anger or anxiety are experienced often, those patterns become very, very familiar. They turn into rhythms. They also trigger certain chemicals in our body that then make a distinct connection to this not optimal state of being in an addictive state. And so then anxiety and anger become our baseline, because at that point, it's kind of all that we know. It's also what we're most familiar with. And it's what we believe life to be about, because we kind of feel like it's always been that way, versus an unhealthy pattern that's really tunneled itself through our brain. So knowing that our amygdala is so responsible for our heart rhythms, synchronizing them, it's really important to determine what is familiar and not familiar to our amygdala by comparing our current heart rhythm patterns to a previously established pattern that really serves as a reference or the baseline. And with heart math, we can do this through some very unique tools that measure our heart rate variability. It is a key aspect to our mental health. So, as I've been saying, our brain is always striving to pattern match, because it has to create a baseline for us to move through life, a baseline for our life recognition of what we think and believe to be true about life, whether or not what we think and believe to be true about life is actually true, or if it's broken, faulty, completely off target because of the trauma, stress, anger, anxiety patterns that are embedded in the folds of our brain, connected to our amygdala. So ideally, what we want to strive for is repatterning our brain to create a feeling of calm versus feelings of anxiousness, because ultimately we want the feeling that we tend to naturally default to, that is so familiar to us, to be one that is beneficial and healthy instead of one that is detrimental and just screwing up our life experience.